Hello and welcome to Misplaced Mini episode number 2. I'm Brian. I'm joined by,
Shannon Duffy.
and today we're actually going to talk about Shannon. Or specifically, I wanted to talk about.
Oh no.
no, no, it's gonna be fine. So, something you bring up in a lot of episodes at the end is that they can watch you streaming on your own Twitch channel.
Yes.
And I just wanted to talk about that. Like how you got started, what your experiences are,
Okay.
where you want to go with it, things like that. Cause I don't know a whole lot about Twitch myself. And maybe some other people don't, and maybe they would like to hear your information on it.
Sure. Okay. So I got started because I had a lot of free time because of recently being out of a relationship, and I got started with a job. So after work, I was just kind of unwinding and playing video games
How long ago was
or
this?
talking to people. So the initial thought happened like 4 years ago, but I didn't act on it until around 2 years ago. And I started streaming in 2020 because, well, obviously the thing happened. It made it so I couldn't just like randomly go places. So I would sit down and I'm like, I'm just playing video games, but all I'm playing are multiplayer and I'm not playing any single player things. And you know what? I'll start streaming and I'll play games that have been on my docket that I just haven't played yet. So I did even more bare bones than I am now because I actually hate overlays. I don't know if you know this about me. I don't like them. I only want to watch people play the video game. So anything that makes it smaller or jumps in front of it, I just do not enjoy.
You don't want to see like someone's face or chest or something down there in the corner.
I only put on a cam because people ask me for it. Okay? I just anyhow. But I'm a rare person that likes watching streaming for the video games and not the person plus the video games. And I got into it. I started by playing a game that I was really interested in called Carrion that I just never got to playing, and then I streamed it, and I would only stream like 3 days out of the week when I started for like an hour to 2 hours to kind of get used to it. And then I beat Carrion, and then I played Hollow Knight and beat Hollow Knight. And then one of my favorite experiences with streaming happened. And I'll get into that in a moment. But have you played Carrion or Hollow Knight, Brian?
I've played Hollow Knight. I feel like everybody's played Hollow Knight by now, right?
One of those games, right? Yeah, one of the big ones.
Yeah. I have not played Carrion though.
Oh man, Carrion's great. So
What is Carrion? Yeah.
it is a Metroidvania. My channel actually started as a Metroidvania channel, believe it or not. That's all I played. But it's a Metroidvania where you are a giant Geiger-esque mess, like massive flesh ball that is running through this lab that kept you there, and you're just trying to get out as you get stronger by eating people and absorbing them into your giant flesh mass. And it was really cool playing the monster. I was really small and popping out of vents and dragging people into them, and then I was bigger and slamming through walls and eventually so large that I would just break through ceilings and land on people and just absorb everything around me. It was just a really cool experience of being the villain or being the thing. Because I could
Okay.
also turn into people too. So
You have already sold me on this. I'm gonna go look this up after the episode.
oh, it's awesome. It's a wonderful game. And then Hollow Knight, for those who don't know, is one of the largest indie Metroidvanias made. Play a little bug knight, kill other little bugs, try to figure out what's going on, try to stop the Hollow Knight from corrupting everything. It pulls a lot from the Souls games as far as storytelling and a couple mechanics. Absolutely gorgeous, hand drawn looking aesthetic. Soundtrack is wonderful. I think the first section of the game is bad, but it becomes wonderful afterwards. A lot of people just love the entire thing.
Yeah,
And
I'm one of those people. It wasn't perfect, but it was a very very good game. I liked it a lot.
yes, it was awesome. And from there, I went to a game that I missed on release. And that game was actually La Mulana. Right? Do you know what that is?
I do, and I have it installed on my Vita actually, but I have not played it.
So it's a giant Metroidvania style game, but it's so much more because it's actually like going into an old ancient tomb and it doesn't tell you anything. I actually wrote down a lot of stuff in a notebook because it doesn't let you save it. So I was running around doing these esoteric puzzles, not knowing what the hell anything was. And it was beautiful. And the reason I missed it on release, because this was the remake of the original game. The original game was a freeware game made in the style of the MSX computer. And it was released the same year, I believe, as Cave Story. So I picked Cave Story to play when that came out, and not La Mulana. Um,
I feel like most people probably picked Cave Story.
yeah, and La Mulana is hard. It's mean. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't explain anything, and it's beautiful. I I started the game. I got so lost, and then the thing that made it wonderful is it's the first game that ever gave me traction past my friends who were really nice and watched me because people like watching people play La Mulana the first time. So I was playing through it and they were kind of, I brought up the playground thing before.
Yeah, like we brought it. I think it was last episode. Just getting together on a playground after playing games and kind of exchanging tips and hints and experiences.
Yeah, so what happened is these people were like a living guidebook for me. It was amazing. There were three or four of them that were really good at it. And they would be like, if you need help, just let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to talk to you. Don't feel like you're playing badly. Nobody plays La Mulana well the first time. And I'm going through and just having fun exploring this thing. And then I got a lot of interesting conversations because I skipped the first boss without realizing it. The way the bosses work is you have to do all these puzzles and get something called an Ankh. And once you get the Ankh, you have to find where the boss happens and then use the Ankh to fight it. So even if you find the boss area, you can't do it unless you have the item.
Hmm.
And I found an Ankh, but not where the first boss was. So I went to the second area, typically where people go, and fought that, and then a harder boss after that, and then finally back to the first boss.
See,
and
I was just gonna say I really like that. I like games that let you go out of order, especially when it comes to boss fights, because it in your case it was accidental, but I like it because you might actually find fighting the a harder boss in a different area easier, just due to mechanical reasons. So it's always fun to be able to tackle things out of order.
yeah, and I did a lot of stuff out of order, and they were laughing because there were some puzzles that I thought were really hard that aren't, and puzzles that were supposed to be really difficult. I figured out in like 2 minutes. Like I spent 20 minutes on a block puzzle that should have taken me 2 minutes, but this one that gave you like a cipher you had to use, I figured out in like three. So it was just this really funny thing about my experience in this wild world where I have to find everything. And while I'm trying to find everything, I can't really like figure it all out. So I'm like, hey guys, can you give me a hint? And they would give me like not answers, but they would give me riddles and stuff. And so like I would get like this riddle like, oh well, what's yellow here, or when did this do this, or what animal does this and stuff. And I was just like, this is so cool. It's an experience that I only can experience streaming, and I thought that was really awesome. And that's when I got sold, like sold on the experience of being a streamer.
So that got you. That makes sense. That kind of a social experience, kind of like sitting in like a room with a group of friends playing something.
Yeah, it was just really cool, and I met some awesome people streaming. There's an individual that has a job where they do like physical. Oh god, what is it when you go to a place and you're like judging the content of the soil and everything, and that's your job
Gee, uh,
for like work sites and stuff?
why'd you have to ask? Um,
Because I forget.
Geologist?
I don't think it's geologist, but it's something along those lines where like they went and they took soil samples and they worked with people on that, and so they would be out away from their home like 8 months out of the year. And during those times when they couldn't talk to their partner, they would actually just jump in my chat and talk to me. So I got this buddy from Alberta that just randomly pops in for a couple hours BSing and asking me for stories because he likes my childhood stories. So I have like these people that I know that will just randomly come in that I met only because of streaming. And some of them I talk to on Discord regularly now. And it's just really fun. I'm not a big name by any stretch of the imagination. I'm itty bitty. I only average like 5 people a stream right now. Um, so I'm definitely not pulling in a whole bunch of money or anything, but it's just a fun way to play games that I kind of like forced myself to get into more because I was just playing everything multiplayer.
I mean, if you're gonna be playing the games anyway,
Mhm.
and you enjoy a social experience, it doesn't seem like there's a downside. Are there any downsides to streaming?
Yeah, so the downsides as a small streamer, TM, is that if I want to get bigger, I have to change what I play. If I want to get bigger, I have to get those overlays that I think are tacky. I have to get into something that's a little bit more well known or establish myself somewhere else, which is how most Twitch people do it nowadays, and then start streaming, like off of a YouTube thing or TikTok or something like that.
Or maybe a popular podcast? I don't know.
Hey, maybe.
Someday.
Maybe if that other co-host would jump on and BS with me while we do stuff and stream, that could be even better content. Who
Hey,
knows?
I have it's on my list. It's on my list.
I know, I know. You have a very large list that you're always working on because you're very productive.
Well, also because, like most people, there are some very important things on the list. So I populate the list with a lot of other things so that I distract myself from the important things.
I
You
get
know,
that.
it's like I need to focus on this, but instead I'll go take apart and fix and recalibrate my CRT.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, so that I don't have to focus on the thing that stresses me out.
But the the thing that's interesting is I transitioned from mostly Metroidvanias to RPGs. And then I kind of had a period where I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, and I was playing a lot of multiplayer or newer games, and my viewership dropped, and I lost followers and subs, and I realized, I need to stop trying to do what I think people want and just enjoy what I play. So then I played Breath of Fire 2, and I had a decent following on that until I got to the end where I was screaming because the encounter rate in that game is not good.
But I'm sure it's fun to watch you suffer.
Oh, so there's a Castlevania 4 stream. I got so angry that I stopped talking. I, there's just there's a particular area in Super Castlevania 4 because the entire game is easier than most of the other games in the series. But there are parts of it that are absolute bullshit. And I got to that part at the end of the game. And let me tell you, I was not happy. I was, I was raging a little.
I that makes sense. One of the reasons I hesitate to stream kind of is well, general social anxiety, but also uh, I'm I'm have a hard time deciding whether or not I could keep talking the whole time I'm playing a game. Like, trying to not be distracted by the game and forgetting to talk would be an issue. And then also, I don't, I consider myself good at video games. I like
Mhm.
video games. I've been playing them forever. So if I start struggling, I think it'll really get to me because I'll be like, when I'm actually playing in front of people, I'm screwing up. This shouldn't be the way things are.
Something that helped me with that is actually you and a couple other people. So I was really worried about looking bad, and then I decided to do an NES day. And
I remember
you,
that day.
you suggested some video games. One
Yeah,
of
like
them
Solstice.
involved, yeah, and the flying one kicked my
Captain Sky.
ass.
Yeah, Captain Skyhawk, an isometric flying game for the NES.
And I learned it's okay to be bad. It's all right. When I feel like I want to be good, I will put on a fighting game, or I will put on Mega Man X, and then I'll do that. Because let me tell you, I did not look like I was very excellent at the video games at that time.
And I guess it's a stupid concern to have anyway, because
Mhm.
thinking about it as a viewer, it's like, and I know me and you don't have the same tastes in what we watch, but I'm like, if I'm gonna watch something like that, I'm actually fine with watching somebody screw up and struggle because I am much happier to watch somebody like suffer and fail constantly during like a Mario run than watch somebody just start beginning to end with perfect jump accuracy. Like, I don't. I want to watch the adversity and struggle. So I guess there's probably people like that. So I don't have to worry about disappointing people by sucking.
Yeah, no. Part of why people liked watching me do La Mulana is I didn't know what the hell life was. I I was all over the place, and that's part of the fun too. Is if people want to watch really high level gameplay, they'll go look up people like Justin Wong and watch him play fighting games.
Fake. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I don't even know who that is.
The
Like,
fact that you don't know who Justin Wong is hurts my soul a
I
little bit.
don't pay attention to competitive fighting game scenes.
But he's like next to Daigo, the most
I don't
well
even know who that
known.
is. I didn't even
Oh,
know. You remember that diorama of that one famous fighting game moment?
you know
That
who those two players were? Justin Wong and Daigo.
I was gonna say I didn't even know about that moment until like this year when you were like, "Look at this diagram," and I was like, "I don't know what that is."
Oh, Evo moment 37. Anyway. So
Dude, I know who some like NFL players are because I live
Mhm.
in Texas.
True.
I beyond that, okay, like I don't know players.
I completely understand, but that's like to me who's really into it, it's like somebody being like, "Who's Mike Tyson?" And I'm just like, "Holy fuck."
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Um so that's a thing. However, when it
Yeah,
comes
where
to
I was gonna say,
streaming,
where were we?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was just talking about part of why I don't play fighting games a lot though is I do get really focused and I don't talk a lot. I am above average. I'm not going to say I'm not, but I'm not very good. I'm
so audience, Shannon believes he is elite tier fighting game person, and if you want to challenge him,
oh
hit
lord,
him up in
please
the
don't.
DMs and be like, I will take your lunch money.
They probably will take my lunch money. I'm very out of practice right now.
Well, we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, we'll see. One of the biggest things I did that I think upped my engagement and that I really enjoy, even though I act like I don't enjoy when it happens, is I have a very robust point system because you get points for watching and then you can use them on things, right?
Oh, I know. I've got like a few thousand points saved
I
up to
know.
screw you over at some point.
So what Brian is talking about is a lot of these are not positive. They're things like take off my glasses. Um, I can't say a word for 5 minutes. You can limit it so I can't do certain actions. I have to do a specific action. I have to use a particular character or character build that you're telling me to do. All of these things.
Don't forget my favorite, which is you have to speak in an accent.
I hate that one and I
Yeah.
should get rid of it.
You should, because it could get you into trouble if somebody's mean.
Oh,
Like you
I
try.
tell them no when I take their points.
Okay, I was gonna say if they're trying to
Yeah.
like make you speak in an inappropriate accent.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that's pretty funny to me. Or it reminds me of drinking games when I was younger, and we would have stupid rules like you can't show your teeth when you talk, or you have to take a drink.
Yeah. Stuff
Like,
like that. I should put hydrate. Um, but I already drink enough, so I don't really feel like I have to.
there's actually a mode in one of the Mortal Kombat's. I don't know if it's in a lot of fighting games, but I was just remembering it where it had like a randomized thing because I remember we were playing it one time and it did something kind of like that. Like it took away at random one player's ability to jump or
Oh, that's one of the 3D games like Deadly Alliance
yeah.
or
I just remember we had a lot of fun
yeah.
with that when we were hanging out and like drinking and playing video games because it was like, oh, can't use projectiles versus can't jump.
Yeah.
Like um
That kind of stuff can be really fun. And like for example, I was playing Ninja Gaiden and one of my regulars was like no attacking. And I'm like, "Okay, guess I'm going to play Ninja Gaiden without swinging my sword for 10 minutes."
that sounds like some kind of like epic record setting YouTube run type situation.
I actually got really good at playing level 3 without attacking anything because of that,
That's
believe it or not.
that's some old school training method for like training kids how to play games, just be
Right.
like you you must play this game without attacking for 50 hours before I'll allow you to attack because only then can you learn how to really play.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do that to my
That could be fun.
I'm kidding.
I I honestly streaming's been mostly positive. There was a period of time where because I do put that I'm asexual, so I put that in my little thing when I go live. So my stream is usually like first playthrough, asexual, blah blah blah, because I want my stream to be a space for all folk and
Did
be
you
able to
catch
talk
any kind
about
of
whatever.
toxicity for that
Yep.
or anything?
Yes, I
Oh,
have.
that is unfortunate.
I've been hate rated once or twice. I'm like, there are like 3 people watching. Why do you care?
I'm
I'm not.
that's a lot of effort for a
Yeah.
little prize. Like
I got a lot of like, what's the matter if you're asexual? Whatever, fatty. You look like Gabe Newell, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Uh, at least try to be original with what you're telling me when you're trying to make me feel bad.
ouch, I look like a very successful billionaire. Thank you.
Yeah, one of them I'm like, that's pretty funny. You got something that's actually gonna make me laugh. Like, good, you all right?
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, at least it was poorly implemented toxicity.
Yeah, and then I got the Haas raids, and then I got, it's just people that don't just for some reason hate on people existing for no reason. And I had a toxic member of the community I had to talk to recently, and just it happens. You know what? I used to be a lot more, and I apologize. I'm going to get slightly political here. I used to be a lot more willing to just talk with people and be like, yeah, I'll break stuff down with you. I'll try to figure out why. But now I just want them out of my stream. I don't want them there. If you're not here for trans people, go away. I don't
Yeah,
care.
that makes sense. I also feel like a Twitch stream is not a place for political debate unless it's like a
A
political
political Twitch stream,
like,
yeah.
yeah. It's like don't drop into somebody's like retro game stream and be like, I want to talk about the merits of, sexual orientations. And it's like, no. Do you want to
No,
talk about Ninja Gaiden? Because that's what we're
right.
talking about, man.
We'll talk about Ninja Gaiden, but I think I've kind of found my niche. Right, I spent like a year and a half being like, "What the hell?" It pretty much Metroidvanias, indie games, RPGs, like old RPGs, and that's pretty much my bread and butter that people like to watch. I'll sometimes play platformers because I'm pretty good at platformers, like naturally. I'm not great, but I'm better than your average bear. and that's usually pretty entertaining. I almost beat Evo in like 2.5 hours yesterday.
Yeah, I heard that went really well. I was mad that you played Evo instead of Zumbinis, but I let it
Hey,
go.
listen, I already did my Zumbini stream and made myself look really stupid when I couldn't do pattern recognition. Okay, like
Hmm.
that's already. I will do. You know what, Brian? If you
No, okay,
promise
so
you
best
will be
best
there for a stream, I will do a Zumbini stream.
maybe I'll think about it. But I
We
was
could do
thinking
it together. Actually,
the
it'd be great.
we could split the difference. Okay, so Zumbinis is similar to Lemmings, right?
Yeah,
And you said I know you like platformers, so you can play what's it called? The Lemmings platformer. It's that knight. Uh God, you were supposed to know this so that I don't have to. Whatever. There's a platforming game. It's a spinoff of the Lemmings. You play as a knight character.
Lomax. Yeah,
Yes, yes, that's the one.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
play that.
PlayStation game. Yeah.
There you go. It's connected because Zumbinis is based on Lemmings, I think, and that's a spinoff of Lemmings. So it's like you're playing Zumbinis.
Okay, because I was saying if you're actually there for a stream with me, I'll play Zumbinis. I will not care.
I want to be. I do have I'm gonna be a father on Saturday, so my schedule's kind of up in the air. But at some point before the end of the year, um,
Excellent.
before 2023, I will
If
join the.
anything, when they get a little older, you can have your child watch and they can learn.
Some of the YouTube people I follow bring their babies onto stream, and it seems to garner adoration from people. So
I would never do that. I for
maybe
multiple
it helps
reasons.
with the talk. It doesn't. I'm making this up. I know for a fact it doesn't because people are just awful. But I'm like, maybe it helps shield you from toxicity because you're like, you won't attack my channel. There's a baby.
There's a baby. That just means I need to have
Get a dog or
a
something.
really strong mod team to smack everybody down. Um, I
But
could get. I've had my roommate's cat, show up, and they loved Bobo. Bobo was a big hit.
so I do have another question. So your stream and you've probably explained this to me before, but I've been drinking. Your
Sure.
stream is Teeps the Great, and your internet handle is Teeps. Uh, and your brand and aesthetic is all about like tea and tea bags. Where did that
Yes.
come from?
So it started because I used to go by Tipo the Great everywhere on the internet, and Tipo is a character from Breath of Fire 3. And then I started doing the streaming. I'm like, maybe I should separate my brand. And then I realized I drink tea all the time. I fucking love tea. So because of this information, I simply just made it all tea themed. I have a commission that I've been waiting on for a long time, but when it's finished, it's a tea knight in a doublet and hose.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be my main thing, and I have the little tea bags. And I used to drink tea on stream. I'll do it more often. I would talk about what the blend was, and
Hey, if you keep that up, you might could maybe you could get a sponsor. Like
yo,
there's
Tivana, what's up? You
yeah,
know,
there's a lot of those little indie upstart tea company things, craft tea. But
craft tea. Is that like craft mac and cheese? Is that
no, less
craft?
delicious.
Does craft make mac and cheese tea? Oh
God, I
God,
don't. I'm a tea hater. Just FYI
why are
to
you
the
like this? What?
uh, I just don't like the taste of tea. I never acquired a taste for it. I find it, and I've tried variety.
I was about to say, what kind of tea?
Everybody does the same thing, and I'm not going to fault y'all because everybody does that about everything. You're like, well, I don't really like this. Well, have you tried this? No. Um, I have tried like different kinds of black tea and green tea and white tea and sun tea and sweet tea and
Mm-hmm.
tea with honey and tea with whatever. My palate finds it bitter. Like even whenever it's sweet, it's like sweet but then bitter. And I
Mm.
know because I did this with coffee, if I forced myself to drink it for a while, my palate would adjust, and I would probably acquire a taste for it because that's how things went with coffee and with beer.
Mm.
But I just don't want to do that because I'm like, well, what? Why? Why do I need to?
Why do I need to do the thing?
Um, but yeah, so I'm a tea hater, which I live in Texas, so the fact that I don't like sweet tea is kind of a handicap to me here. Like I, it
Wow.
yeah.
Jeez, that probably is. Yeah.
People are like, I'll come to a gathering and they're just like, we have sweet tea, and I'm like, I'll just drink nothing. like,
I will just drink nothing.
um,
I,
but
that's
anyway,
very sad. That's
there are bigger things to be sad about in life.
no, that's a bad thing.
I
That's
mean, you
really
don't,
bad.
you don't. Wait. Am I confusing with some? You don't like beer, am I right?
I'm learning,
Okay. See, I was sad about you not liking beer for a while,
but
and
I learned because I'm
I
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm also sad that you find bottom shelf domestic beer brands to be acceptable beer.
I don't anymore.
You're like Coors is a perfectly valid beer. No,
So like, okay, here's the thing, right? I thought beer was gross because all I had was that shit, and then I asked you, I'm like, and a couple other people, what kind of beer should I get? And then you all told me, and I tried different stuff, and now I like beer. Okay, I I grew out of my shell and attempted something different.
I'm teasing you.
I
I am
know, and it's working incredibly well.
I'm glad you are learning to appreciate beer. Uh,
Yeah, I still don't like it as much as its grown up cousin whiskey, but that's just a personal thing.
it's grown up. Oh my god.
It that's the joke. It's the joke because it's eight anyway.
So
Sorry.
back to your stream. um,
Anyhow, back to my stream. Since you don't care about the facts of the world,
so what are your plans? So right now, I know.
right now I'm playing Mass Effect 2, and then I'm gonna
Right,
play Breath of Fire 4, and
and
then
you do
Mass
stream
Effect 3.
like what 4 or 5 days a week. So you truck through these pretty fast. I've noticed.
Yeah, I do 3 or 4 days of the week depending on my mood. I think it's four right now. It's Monday through Thursday typically, and then one of those days is fighting games with friends.
So what are your like? Are you just playing it by ear, or do you have like a place you want to take your channel eventually? Like if what is your goal for your channel? Like what is the perfect situation to get into for you?
So right now, it is a hobby. It is a hobby that I enjoy very much for a bunch of reasons. And part of those reasons are just I I like the social aspect. It's making me do things I normally wouldn't do and reach out to people. Because in person, I'm fairly competent talking to people. I'm comfortable, it's okay. On the internet, I'm actually very shy, which is why the X of the Blood God Discord, which is a really cool podcast. I'm in that Discord and I'm active there, but that's pretty much it. And this is helping me branch out and be okay with talking to people that I don't know,
That
which
is
is
a
good for me.
healthy thing. Yeah, that's uh, that can be very beneficial. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I try to do things that make me grow as a person, and I'm actually thinking of putting more time into it. Maybe actually getting an overlay and doing more theming and getting in touch with other streamers and doing stuff with them more and trying to grow.
See, that's what I was gonna ask if you had any plans like for collaborations or partnerships or anything like that.
Yeah, I normally don't like to.
Plan ahead.
It's not plan ahead. I'm fine with planning ahead. I don't like to do what I think of as shilling because I have a very unhealthy self work ethic. And I'm like, I don't want to bug other people, and I don't want to rely on other people, which is stupid.
I mean, I get the second part. Like I'm similar there, but I'm fine with bugging people. I bug people all the time. I'm
Oh yeah,
kind of a pest, but
I
But
don't. Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you think that, the thing is, I understand that it isn't being a pest to people, right?
yeah, I mean that's if you recall, that is how the concept for this podcast started. I just DM'd you and was like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?"
Yeah, yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed that you did because this podcast is wonderful. And just so you know, I'm gonna just tell you right now what the next minis is gonna be about since you sprung this on me. We're gonna talk about you and your love of restoring retro things. So get ready. Have a nice little thing set up for it next week.
Oh, you didn't like that this was a Teep centric episode?
No, well, why would people want to learn about me? That's awful.
Whatever, people are gonna like this.
All right. Well, thank you for your interest. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I think I'm good for a mini episode. I'm sure I'll ask you questions in other episodes when it comes up.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Well, then, Mr. Brian, where can they find you?
On Twitter as Brian C Nerd, also on Instagram and YouTube, and also everywhere you can find our podcast under the Misplaced Pod. Um, and what about you? Where can they find this stream we've been talking about for 30 minutes? And when is your next stream going to be?
All right. So, my next stream is going to be tomorrow. It's probably going to be Guilty Gear Strive with some friends. They can find me at Teeps the Great on Twitch. They also can find me on Twitter at Teeps the Great, which I will post my Twitch. So that is where you can find me.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week's Misplaced Mini. And thank you very much for listening, and hope to catch you next time.
Have a spectacular day.